Why Daniel Ricciardo chose Red Bull to return over an F1 race seat for 2023. Many fans were perplexed by Daniel Ricciardo's decision to rejoin Red Bull, but the Australian has given an explanation. In an interview, Daniel Ricciardo discussed his choice to compete for the Red Bull during the 2023 season. Due to a one-year contract reduction with McLaren, the Australian racing icon won't be on the grid. Welcome back to F1 Unlimited. Race to that subscribe button and subscribe to our channel. Although Red Bull has been quickly downplayed the possibility of Ricciardo being an option for a racing set, and we are aware that Ricciardo only wanted to negotiate a deal that enabled him to get back on the grid for 2024, there is more to Ricciardo's decision than simply just some nice PR. After hiring Australian rookie Oscar Piastri to the team with Lando Norris, McLaren let the 33-year-old depart. Prior to signing Pierre Gasly to pair up with Esteban Ocon, Alpine, formerly Renault, was connected to bringing Ricciardo back. Haas was rumoured to have a seat open, but the West Australian insisted he needed a year off the track to maintain his passion for the sport. He will take on simulator and marketing responsibilities as the team's third driver upon his return to the Red Bull garage. He will be able to take time off from sports and focus on himself because the role does not require him to become a member of the squad for the entire 2023 season. He claimed that by choosing to come back, he can continue to be on other teams' radars as he searches for a 2024 grid slot. Ricciardo told Speed Cafe, quote, "It's nice to be in a winning environment. I think you learn a lot," end quote. He is familiar with several Red Bull employees and recalls feeling at ease behind the wheel there. Even though Sergio Perez's contract isn't up until the end of 2024, anything might happen. If everything else fails and there is no other choice, at least he can keep tabs on the current world champs. It's known that the position will entail simulator work, perhaps some driving time, presumably focused on the Pirelli tyre testing, a few demo car show runs, and attendance at a few select Grand Prix throughout the season. Helmut Marko, an advisor for the Red Bull Motorsports, erred when he said that Ricciardo would join the team as a reserve in 2023 before a contract was signed. But we know by the time that the Abu Dhabi paddock dispersed, the agreement had been finalized and a formal announcement is soon to come. Since he agreed to end his McLaren F1 contract a year early to make room for Oscar Piastri of Alpine Reserve, many people have speculated about Ricciardo's future. In order to recover from a challenging and occasionally depressing tenure with McLaren, he refused to consider race seats at lower midfield teams like Haas or Williams for 2023. Instead, he preferred to take a break from racing and aim to return to a top team. At the conclusion of 2018, Red Bull and Ricciardo departed ways. Horner and the team were taken aback by Ricciardo's decision to join Renault. Ricciardo won 7 of his 8 Grand Prix races during his 4 years at Red Bull, where he also twice took 3rd place in the Drivers' Championships. Before electing to leave McLaren earlier this year, he spent 2 years with Renault and McLaren. Ricciardo chose to stay with Red Bull despite being strongly connected to a Mercedes reserve position. He discussed his recent troubles after his final race with McLaren. Although Lewis Hamilton claimed Ricciardo was too skilled to drive for the F1 reserve team, the 8-time Grand Prix champion has sort of decided that's what's best for him. Despite having negotiations with Mercedes, it's thought that Ricciardo decided to rejoin the team that gave him the major break in Formula 1 in 2014 and helped him win 7 of those 8 triumphs as well as 2 top 3 finishes in the world in 2014 and 2016. Ricciardo won't be your typical reserve driver either because he is forced to travel the world and attend most events for free. Ricciardo's return to Red Bull begs the question of whether he will have a seat there in the near future. Apparently, there is no availability at Red Bull before 2025. Replacing Verstappen is out of the question because he has a contract that expires in 2028, while Perez signed a contract extension until the end of 2024 earlier this year. So the only way for Red Bull to really get Ricciardo racing is for either Verstappen or Perez to depart, whether they leap or are pushed. Should Ricciardo prove to Red Bull that he can be as good as he is when he last raced there in 2018 if he becomes a racing seat option? Team manager Christian Horner quickly shut down the prospect, so quickly that you almost thought there was something in it, but there was probably just a reflex reaction to Red Bull's bad week. Ricciardo has repeatedly stated that anything he does in 2023 must put him in the best possible position to return to Formula 1 in 2024. That doesn't have to be with Red Bull, perhaps this isn't even his desire. However, while Horner attempted to rule Ricciardo out of a future race, he himself did not, even if the team does not publicly admit it. It's in the Red Bull's best interest to consider the possibility that, when in negotiations with Ricciardo, Red Bull may have had no intentions or even reason to consider him as an alternative to Perez. Even though Perez's own form was not great when Ricciardo's McLaren exit was confirmed. So it doesn't matter if Ricciardo is long way from being seriously evaluated for another Red Bull race slot. The fact that he is returning and joining the team makes him an important part of the driver lineup storyline in 2023. And do you want him to join Red Bull? Well, if you do, then let us know your comments and thoughts in the comments section below. Make sure to like and share this video, and race to that subscribe button and subscribe to our channel here at F1 Unlimited.